Last year around February, I started watching wrestling on a consistent basis, more specifically WWE. Since then, I have watched every pay-per-view, PLE, and every weekly television series they have, minus Evolve and LFG, the main three, NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. Over the course of these 15 months, I have fallen in love with the sport and loved every moment of it. Since I now have a full year under this belt of what the matches are like, storylines, and company-driven ideas, I feel now is time I can start making content off of the sport. Whether those are predictions for the upcoming live event they have for the month, predicting championship reigns, predicting a match card for a specific live event, I want to start publishing more of this sport and see where my general audience is placed in this. For today's video, I would like to do a test run. Tomorrow, May 23rd, they're having a premium live event named Saturday Night's Main Event. This is a B-tier show that most of the time produces nothing of value in terms of storylines, but it is still important to watch in case anything crazy happens because you never know. There are 5 matches. I will provide my prediction on who will win and where the champions / the winners will be heading towards in the future. I will also do one for Clash of Infinity, so please, if you enjoy this new type of videos, let me know in the comments. If people want more, I'll do more. If not, I'll simply stop and I'll use it as bonus videos. Bonus videos as in, on the day of the event, I'll make a predictions for it, and then I'll keep the video up and, or the day before, I'll keep it as a bonus video. Basically, it won't be my main video like I'm doing it right now. This is all just purely test stuff. If you guys are into this, I will do more like this, okay? I will start using these as a way to do the Friday videos and etc. For this video specifically, I will just be using Garden Warfare clips for my background with some light music as I talk, okay? You're gonna get the raw variant of Ninja Dills. Pure talk, no script. Obviously this beginning part is scripted and the ending won't be scripted too, but the predictions stuff will just be blabbering about my opinions, and don't worry, the uhs, ums, does, pauses like that will all be taken out of the video in the post play. Now then, let's head right into my predictions. On Saturday night's main event. One more note for this, with the predictions, we're gonna show the photo of the match card, or well, specifically the graphic for the specific match, and then I will minimize it to the left side of the screen. That way you can still watch the game and then know who I'm talking about and why I'm talking about it and who's specifically in the match. For our first match, we'll be talking about the women's triple tag team match between Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair versus the baddies, Jade Cargill, Michin, and B-Fab. So the story they're trying to tell here is that Charlexa has been taken out by so many people in the tag team division, Fatal Influence, the baddies, they're not really called the baddies, but literally everyone has been calling them that, so we're gonna go with it, okay? Alright, cool. And they've been outnumbered 2 to 3 multiple times, and Rhea Ripley has came in to help, saying that you need my help. You cannot beat them, just you two. They outnumber you 2 to 3, and they will take you out whenever they have the chance to do so. As for Jade Cargill and the baddies, they came back after a hiatus of about a month, because obviously they want the championship back that they literally had before WrestleMania, so Jade Cargill obviously wants blood for Rhea Ripley. Now, my assumption is that they're going to have the baddies win specifically, because of the reasoning that there's still turmoil between Charlotte and Rhea specifically, because that's what they're trying to tell with the story. So my assumption is I think the baddies will win. Although, first things first, it should have been Fatal Influence who was in here, which I will have a photo of their squad in a moment. They should have been in this match because I felt like as if it would have made more sense to have them in the match, because that's kind of what they were kind of building towards, how this had this dominant heel faction that no one can stop them. And then all of a sudden Jade Cargill came in and then kind of ruined it. But I think my prediction here is the baddies, and I think what will happen here after is, I think it's very obvious that they're setting up a Rhea versus Jade match in the future. Now, is it going to happen in Clash of Italy? That I'm unsure. I assume it's probably going to happen in Clash of Italy because it's a very simple, hey, I want your championship. Let's do it next Sunday. Boom. Obviously not this upcoming Sunday. I'm talking about the May the 31st. Yeah, May 31st. So my prediction is that the baddies, which is Jade Cargill, Michin, and B-Fab, will win against Rhea, Charlotte, and Alexa, because I think that they're setting up a Rhea versus Jade match at Clash of Italy, and then I think Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss will actually disband and become a singles competitor that everyone's been waiting for specifically. So my prediction is that the baddies will win, and then it will lead to Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley to face each other at Clash of Italy for the Women's WWE Championship. The second match out of 5 is another women's tag match. This time it is for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. It is Paige and Brie Bella versus the Irresistible Forces. Got it this time. That is Lash Legend and Nia Jax. I also don't know what the hell they were doing with this because they just announced it on Monday during the Raw, and they were like, hey, we're going to have this title match. But they also had a title match on Monday, so what gives? I don't know at this point. Also, they already had this match on SmackDown like 2 weeks ago, so why run it back on Saturday Night's Main Event? Do you just want your champs to be on a card? Like, what? Make it make sense. So the story that they're giving off here is that oh, now I remember. So the story that it's saying is that Nikki Bella got injured, unfortunately, on a SmackDown match that was leading up to the WrestleMania match of that Fatal 4-Way. That was Brie Bella, Charlotte, the Irresistible Forces, who were the champs, and then Brie Bella and Nikki Bella. But because Nikki Bella couldn't make it and be in the match, they called up Paige and were like, hey, we need some help. So now it's Paige and Brie basically defending the tag titles against the same 4 teams that have literally been the same cycle over and over again. We all thought that Bayley was supposed to win, and then freaking Paige decided to win. And the story that they're giving off is that there's just right now Charlotte is dealing with Fatal Influence and the baddies, and then they've been rotating the women's tag championship with just Irresistible Forces. It's like their 3rd time defending against them. It's quite odd, but there isn't really a story that they're trying to tell here. It's just that I think they're waiting for Nikki Bella to get back on, get off of the reserve list because she's injured right now with, I think, a leg injury. My bad. So, I don't really know where you can go with this because as of right now, there's only 2 babyface tag teams. That's Bayley and Paige and Brie. And plus, Bayley literally just came back on the Monday Night Raw. But they only were there for a minute. So, we have no clue what they're going to be doing. As for this match, I mean, I guess you could give it back to Irresistible Forces. But that would mean that you have it on a heel tag team, and there's also 2 other heel tag teams. So we're going to do, you're going to get back to Charlexa? What's the point? No, we already have a story going on with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, so what's the point there? Alright, they have their own story going on. I mean, I guess you can give it Irresistible Forces to then give it back to Bayley, but what are they going to do? I mean, I guess they could defend it more because now there's Fatal Influence, Irresistible Forces, and the baddies that you could defend it against. So there's that. But the issue is that there's only 2 babyface tag teams, whereas there's 3 women's heel tag teams, which becomes a problem because you're kind of forced to give it back to them. At the exact same time, everyone knows that Paige should really be back in the solos as a solo star. She shouldn't be in here. It felt like temporarily, but I mean, I assume that they're probably waiting until Nikki Bella gets back, so then that way that she can turn on Paige and then, and then have that story where there's turmoil between the inside of them where Nikki took her opportunity to actually have tag titles with her literal sister. So I think my prediction is that, unfortunately, I mean, to be fair, I don't think there's either way outcome for this, but I think Paige and Brie will retain against Irresistible Forces, and I think after this, I think they'll keep Lash and Nia Jax as a tag team for now to go handle business with maybe Fatal Influence, be like, you're cutting the line, why do we want them tag champs? And I think they will eventually lose it to Fatal Influence. I think after this win, they'll have a pay-per-view cycle with the Fatal Influence girls, who I think will actually eventually win the tag titles because I feel like it's just destined for them to win it, probably at SummerSlam, maybe even Clash of Elite or Night of Champions. But I think my prediction is that Paige and Brie Bella will win, and then their story will be having something with Fatal Influence. As for Nia Jax and Lash Legend, I think they'll still be around the circle of who's going to be champ and such, but I'm not too sure where they could go specifically. Maybe they will verse Bayley for a #1 contenders match, and then Fatal Influence will come in. But for my prediction, it is Paige and Brie to retain, and they'll go off to face off against Fatal Influence, who will eventually beat them for the tag titles. I do not know when. I'll just say Night Champions for now. Heading over to the men's side for a moment, we have a men's World Tag Team Championship match between the people who are the champs, Logan Paul and Austin Theory, and defending against the Street Profits and Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. There's a lot to break down here with how the story got here, so let's talk about it. Okay, so after WrestleMania, obviously Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker had their match at Backlash. The story that they're trying to give here is that the Vision is being attacked by literally everybody, and more specifically Seth Rollins, who was the leader of the faction during post-WrestleMania 41. obviously got kicked out, and then Braun Breaker took over, and here we are. However, there's a lot of people who are targeting the Vision. Okay, Joe Hendry's after Logan Paul. The Street Profits want the tag team championships. They're looking strong. They're looking mighty. They want it. Okay, but Seth Rollins wants Braun Breaker, and he sees that the Street Profits and Joe Hendry want the Vision too. So what Seth Rollins wants to do is be on good terms with Street Profits, and kind of like Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry's kind of out of the picture right now. I'm going to stay away from him specifically. We're talking about the Street Profits, Seth Rollins. That they're trying to basically say that, hey, we're friends. We're going for the same people here, okay? Don't get in my way and I won't get in your way. Very simple. The thing about Montez Ford is that Seth Rollins doesn't care about actually anything. He only cares about himself. Whatever is profiting off of himself. So he thinks that Seth Rollins is only in it for himself and not actually for the group. While Angel Dawkins was saying, hey, he actually helped me out during the Raw matches that we had against them. I actually think he's a pretty good guy. We should actually listen. Montez Ford doesn't give a shit. He only cares about his tag team partner. So the match right here is the Vision versus the Street Profits. But because Seth Rollins was the leader at one point, he knows how it works. The Vision plays, then there's interruptions between Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and then the Vision wins every single time because of interference. So I think what's going to happen here is that the match will go on for a little bit. Then I think interference will happen between probably Braun Breaker, because Bronson Reed's out right now with an injury. So I think Braun Breaker will come in, Paul Heyman will come in, and then Seth Rollins will attack Braun Breaker to stop the interference. And I still think the Vision will still pick up the win regardless, but I think the Street Profits will finally realize that Seth Rollins, you're going to need him, because it's kind of like Charlotte Flair thing as well. You're outnumbered 2-3. You're going to need someone to be on your side. And right now, Joe Hendry's off doing his own thing, singing how Logan Paul should be fired, okay? Always remember that's a joke. So I don't think right now you can do it with Joe Hendry. I think once Bronson Reed comes back, I think you can then add Joe Hendry into the mix, because then it becomes a 4v4. So I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. Now you can become a 4v4, and now you can have some type of like PLE. But I think for my prediction with this is I think the Vision will retain, because you can't really do anything else right now because the Usos have their own stuff with Roman Reigns in the main event scene. But I don't think this is the last match we will have with the Vision in the Street Profits because of the Seth Rollins storyline they're giving. And I think maybe somewhere down the line like Night Champions or Clash in Italy, you can do Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker and then have the Vision and Street Profits. So now that Braun Breaker is busy, and maybe have Bronson Reed come in and attack them to keep the retaining going. But for right now, I think my prediction is that the Vision will retain against the Street Profits, and it will then cause the Street Profits to kind of force themselves to be aligned, well, not aligned with Seth Rollins, but have an alliance with Seth Rollins, because it's kind of your only option. You're kind of forced to do it because no one else was literally there to help you. Me besides Joe Hendry, but I don't think Joe Hendry's in the story right now. I think he's going to come back later once they lose like the title. Maybe we'll have like a solo feud real quick with Logan Paul. But besides that, I think what's going to happen here is that my prediction, the Vision will retain against the Street Profits, and then the Street Profits will have an alliance with Seth Rollins to help him out in taking out Braun Breaker, and Seth Rollins will help the Street Profits out in taking the tag titles away from the Vision, because Seth Rollins wants everything away from the Vision. He doesn't think that anyone deserves it, and that's it, okay? So I think that's what's going to happen in the future. As for when they're going to have their rematch, I don't think Clash in Italy, I think it's actually too early. I do think Night Champions fits really well though for this, and I also believe that Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker will probably also have their rematch at Night Champions. Or hell, maybe in Saturday Night's main event in July, but I think it's actually too far out to have that happen. We finally had the singles matches as we have a non-title match between Becky Lynch and Sol Ruca. Although, very oddly enough, this was first a non-title match, then they changed it to a title match, and then they changed it to a non-title match. I don't know why it's a non-title match on a pay-per-view, but hey, I'm not the boss around here. I'm just here to talk about my predictions. So the story that they're trying to give here, right, is that Sol Ruca had 2 matches on the Raw after WrestleMania, lost to Liv Morgan in a non-title match, and then lost to Io Sky. And the story that they're trying to say here is that she's not ready. Okay, she's a rookie. She just got here literally a month ago. She just got moved up from NXT. She's not ready for a big title match immediately heading right into the main roster play. Okay, so Becky Lynch saying, you're not ready. When you start grabbing some wins against actual real opponents, let me know, because, you know, she says that she lost to Io Janetti. That's what her words say. Okay, it's not me. Okay, and she lost to Liv Morgan. Those are very 2 top-heavy people. All right, those are like the 2 biggest people on the main roster, specifically for the Raw terms, as well as Becky Lynch. So that's pretty impressive that your first 3 matches are Becky Lynch, Io Sky, and Liv Morgan becoming an official member of the Raw roster. That's pretty impressive. But the story they're trying to say here is Becky Lynch says that Sol Ruca is not ready, and that if she is ready, she will face her at Saturday night's main event in a non-title match to see if she can actually step up to the big game and actually win against the big opponents that she needs to face in her career. Okay, so Sol Ruca says that she is ready and that she just had some unfortunate losses. Now, what would happen in both scenarios? Let's talk about it. Okay, so if Becky Lynch wins, Sol Ruca is now 0-3 against the 3 top people that are on the Raw roster. Will it hurt her? Well, first off, we all know this is a scripted thing, so obviously it won't hurt her. Sorry. It won't hurt her, but it can affect her, okay? Because if she loses, she could get dropped out real fast, okay? She could be going against, like, non-title matches and, like, non-title feeds to try and pick up some more wins. But I think what the story they're trying to tell here is that Sol Ruca is going to win the IC Championship. Like, straight up. I think they're trying to say that Sol Ruca is the future and that Becky Lynch will get moved up later to the main event because that's where she's desperately needed right now. But I think what will happen is that Sol Ruca will probably win. Maybe a count out might happen, but I don't think it will. I think Sol Ruca will win the match here, and then it will lead to either a rematch at Clash of Italy because he actually earned it. Because if you do not know in WWE terms, if you beat the champ in a non-title match, you earn a shot at a title. Straight up there. That's just how it works around these parts, okay? If you beat the champ, you get to earn a shot at the champion, okay? That's how it works. So I think that Sol Ruca will win, and I think that this will continue to build up and up and up until Night of Champions, because that's about 4 to 5 Raw shows that you can build up the story there, that Sol Ruca is ready for this. She can actually beat her, and she can go for the IC title, and that she's a future, and she is ready for this. So as for Becky Lynch winning, Sol Ruca's not getting the IC title anytime soon. Maybe at SummerSlam, maybe they have something else where Sol Ruca wins Queen of the Ring. But I think there's actually other opponents that could actually win that, and I'm not going to tell you that because that's not part of this one. But I think my prediction is that Sol Ruca is going to win this, and then they're going to set up a match for the IC title at Night of Champions in their rematch specifically, because then I think Sol Ruca will win there, and then I think will have their last title match at SummerSlam specifically. I think this feud will be the summer feud for the IC title, like how they had with Becky and Lyra. But for my prediction, I think Sol Ruca will win, and then they will build up a match about being confident and being ready for this, for a match at Night Champions for the IC title. That is my prediction. Let me know what you guys think. In the main event of this pay-per-view, we will have the Men's Intercontinental Championship online, as Penta, the champion, will be defending it against Ethan Page. So the story that they're trying to tell here, right, is that Ethan Page has won all of his matches. Okay, he beat Javon Evans on his Raw debut after WrestleMania. He then beat the champ in a tag match, okay, and he's now 2-0 against everyone in the Raw roster specifically. He's undefeated. He pinned the champ in that tag match between him and Rusev versus Javon Evans and Penta. If you pin the champ, you earn a shot against the champ for the title. That's how it works. We all know this is the truth, okay? So now we're here with Ethan Page and Penta. He has yet to beat Penta for the championship, but he believes that he will. And there's also a thing where people say that within 40 days of joining NXT, he won the NXT championship. I did not watch it back then, so I don't have any clue with that, but it's like around like 36 days, so people think there's something connected with that. And a lot of people want Ethan Page to win it because originally people were thinking, oh, okay, it's a fatal four-way between Penta, who's the champ, against Ethan Page, Rusev, and Javon Evans. I thought that was where they were going with too, if it was going to happen Saturday's main event or Clash of Italy. The question we need to ask here, though, is, will that fatal four-way happen if Penta retains here? Will that happen at Clash of Italy? Here's my thing. I think it can happen, but if they were to do it, they would kind of have to have Javon Evans and Rusev interfere during this match to make Penta still win regardless, or have some type of, like, DQ happen, and then, like, and Pierce comes out and it's like, gentlemen, and be like, a fatal four-way at Clash of Italy. I don't really know if that's going to happen. If it does, then yes, it's pretty easy. Penta retains, but Ethan Page will still get another shot with Javon Evans and Rusev in the mix, and the fatal four-way in Clash of Italy. If Ethan Page wins, then things get interesting, because if Ethan Page was to win the champ, obviously Penta deserves a rematch. They might run it back at Clash of Italy, but also, you know, I think it makes sense if you have Penta beat at Clash of Italy, because, you know, it's Italy, and they would want to see Penta. He's like one of the most popular superstars right now. So I think it will lead to some type of match, maybe a rematch automatically, or a fatal four-way. I think for the purpose of this, I think they will have Penta retain, but in a DQ specifically, where Rusev and Javon Evans will interfere in the match. Maybe Ethan Page was about to win, and then Javon Evans maybe pulls him out. Maybe maybe Rusev does as well. But my prediction for this is that Penta will retain in a disqualification because of the interference between Rusev and Javon Evans. And then on Monday, they'll have, I don't think they're going to have a contract signing, but I think they will have a scheduled match on Monday. And then Adam Pearce will come out and say it is official for a Fatal 4-Way and Clash of Unity. Because I do think they want Penta to be there because, sales. And also I think people would want to see Penta at that pay-per-view. So my prediction is that Penta will retain in a disqualification because of the interference run in by Rusev and Javon Evans, and obviously the referee will see it. If Ethan Page wins, then I think it will just be a simple rematch between Ethan Page and Penta at Clash in Italy. That is my predictions. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree on this. But I can honestly see either one win, and I can see both reasons. If Ethan wins, it would be a rematch with Penta at Clash in Italy, or Night of Champions. If Penta wins, then we gotta go straight down line for a Fatal 4-Way because that would make the most sense. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your predictions down below and who you think is going to win each match. This is a test video, so let me know if you would like to hear me talk more about wrestling and WWE in general. If so, I'll do this for each pay-per-view and more stuff around the sport. If not, I'll simply just use it as a bonus video so it doesn't affect my schedule. So in that case, a bonus video, I would have my main video on Friday, and if it's a weekend where there is a live event that are happening, I will upload that later on the night so that it has more focus on the main video and not the sub video I have. Next Friday, you'll see me rank each character design from Lil Gator Game from worst to best, and yes, that includes the LC. I already have 2 videos on that, so if you want to see those before I rank my character designs, it'll be down in the description below. Probably above socials. I'll say above socials. And also the credit will still be top description. Just for this video, won't be any, end credit screen because I'm still trying to figure out the music and stuff, so bear with me, please. Make sure you like, subscribe, share if you do friends, and subscribe to me and enjoy my videos. Hit that little bell so you get notified for when I upload and go live. And thank you again for watching. This is Ninja Joe signing out. Peace!